I know I'm a little late to the party, but a few months ago, I finally got my hands on the Reload II from Two-Notes, and it's caused me to completely rethink my studio guitar rig. Stick around to find out why I think this just might be the best device in its class. Hi, I'm Steve. Welcome to my studio. The Reload 2 is, well, it's a few things depending on how you're using it. If you have it connected to your tube guitar amp, then it can be an attenuator of sorts that does its thing by combining a really great reactive load with a very transparent solid-state power amp. It's got two independent 215 watt power amps. That means the Reload 2 is capable of taking your mono guitar amp and turning it into a full-blown stereo rig. It's also great for powering modelers, preamps, and pretty much anything else. Because it's solid-state power, and two separate power amps for that matter, you can safely run two speaker cabs at any impedance, as long as the speaker and connector impedance is set to match the impedance of your amp, which is crucial. You're good to go. At the amp end, the Reload 2 accepts 4, 8, and 16 ohm impedance loads. As far as output power, the higher the speaker impedance, the lower the output wattage. Now, I'm not sure what the exact breakdown is, but even at 16 ohms, it's loud enough to keep up with your drummer. A few moments ago, you heard my Mesa Boogie Badlander with the Mr. Scary mod from Legendary Tones. The volume on this amp is set between 10 and 11 o'clock. Now, this is a 100-watt tube amp. Ordinarily, this would be melting faces and shaking walls. With the Reload 2, though, I'm able to drop the volume so low that I've needed to add 40 to 50 dB of gain on the microphone preamps just to get it up to an acceptable listening level here in my control room. And the tone is just fantastic. That was my Mesa Boogie horizontal rectifier 212 cab loaded with Celestion Vintage 30 speakers. I mean, it's literally right there. Now, you're hearing it through the condenser mic that I use to record my voice when I'm making videos here. So chances are you're hearing it a good bit louder than the volume I'm actually hearing it sitting here, but you get the idea. So that's a huge drop in volume, but it still sounds, and more importantly, it feels great. Now, using the Reload 2 is really easy. Here, I'll show you. This little switch is where you select your input source. If you're running a modeler or preamp or something, you would set it to line. If you're using your tube amp, you switch it over to amp. Use this knob to set the input level so it's strong enough, but doesn't overload the input circuit. These three LEDs let you know where your level is. You want to shoot for the middle. If the right LED lights occasionally, that's also fine. Once you've got that set, just dial in your volume with the big white knob, or if you're running stereo, with both knobs. Now, they're stepped, and the volume increase as you go up is very linear. There are no big volume jumps. Check it out. Again, that was through my rectifier cab with the Vintage 30s right behind me. So this allows you to dial in the exact volume you're looking for with no surprises. The little black knob to the right here is for your direct signal level. So if you want to run just the amp sound with no speakers into your amp, maybe to use with impulse responses, this is where you would set the level of the amp. Now, in my experience, the Reload 2 already sounds fantastic and transparent, but there's more. Down below, you've got your depth and presence controls. These are great at lower levels as you can dial in the thump and sparkle you might be missing when the volume is low. They can also be used to enhance the already great sound of your amp. And finally, up here, you've got a button that is marked simply Mojo. It's hard for me to describe what this does, so I'll show you instead. Now, the effect of the Mojo button seems to be more pronounced when you use it in combination with the depth and the presence knobs. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Let's set these both to about 11 o'clock here. Here's your root tone. I guess I'd describe it as being similar to the loudness button on a stereo receiver. Maybe introducing a bit of a mid-range scoop to mimic how we hear sound at higher levels. Whatever it does, it's a cool addition. In playing around with the Reload 2 here, I've found that I tend to prefer the Mojo switch and the depth and presence controls more when I'm sitting in front of the speaker cabinet as opposed to listening through the mic speaker cabinets. Now, it's important to note that what you're hearing is coming straight from the cab mics. There is no post EQ going on, and any effects you hear are coming from my Axe FX 3, which is going through the FX loops of the Reload 2 and then onto the speaker cabinets. So nothing is being added in post. In my setup here, the Reload 2 is running through the attenuator loop of my KHE amp cab switcher system. I've got one channel of the Reload 2 running back into the KHE so that I can then send that to one of 4 speaker cabinets I've got connected to the KHEs. Output 2 of the Reload 2 is wired directly to my Mesa Boogie Rectifier 412 cab. Now, in my console app, I've got several session files saved where the mics on the Mesa Boogie cabinet are all panned hard right, and then all of the other cab mics are panned hard left. Doing it this way means I can use the Reload 2 with all of my amps and cabinets, and having the Mesa Boogie cabinet always ready to go on channel 2 means I've got a stereo setup available at all times. And this is how the Reload 2 has caused me to completely rethink my studio rig and how I use it all. With a stereo effects unit like the Axe FX3 here, connected to both FX loops in the Reload 2, all my effects are sent to both cabs in stereo. Having all these effects always available to me through all of my amps has been a huge game changer for me. I know that's become an overused term, but until now, I have always recorded all of my guitars bone dry and then added my effects later in the mix. Some sounds, though, really require the effects to be there from the get-go. Sometimes, though, it's just a lot more fun and more inspiring to play with the effects on there. So this way, I've got the best of both worlds. And if I don't want the effects, the loops on the Reload 2 are switchable. And I've got a button set up here on my Voodoo Lab control switcher where I can turn it right off. Now, doing it this way, I can also control everything via MIDI, but that's a whole nother video. So, of course, capabilities are great, But if it doesn't sound good, who cares? And this is where the Reload 2, in my opinion, earns its place as one of the best devices in its class. Here's how. First, the reactive load built into the Reload 2, it feels fantastic. Two-Notes advertises it as being Celestion approved, which is the first time I've ever heard of a speaker company offering their official approval of a load response. But I've got to agree, it sounds and feels fantastic. Now, I've played quite a few other reactive load devices, and some of them were great. Some of them, though, they just didn't cut it. They either felt stiff or mushy or just didn't sound good. The feel here is great. It's very natural. It's among the best I've played. Second, the power amps that Two-Notes has built into the Reload 2 are super transparent. What comes out sounds just like what's going in. With some of the devices, I don't know whether it's the reactive load or the power amp, but there seems to be a bit of coloration going on, and often it'll vary by amp. I'm not getting any of that with the Reload 2. Whatever I throw at it comes back sounding like the amp that I'm playing through. Okay, so let's take a look around back. Now, it's worth noting that Two-Notes includes a set of rack ears with your Reload 2 so you can rack mount it. This is something that other companies charge upwards of $75 for. It's no big deal, but to me, it's incredibly forward-thinking and something I really appreciate. Speaking of which, I've got my Reload 2 rack mounted, so instead of crawling under the desk and trying to light it up under there, we're just gonna look at some photos. Now here we've got the input from the amp. This runs from the speaker output of your amp. Again, set the impedance control of the Reload to match the impedance of your amp. This is crucial. Now below that are two speaker outputs. Over here on the other side, we've got line level inputs for channels A and B. You can use these for a preamp or modeler or whatever. I have one set of the outs of my Axe effects connected here, allowing me to test tones through my speaker cabs as well as use the Axe effects to shoot impulse responses. The XLR jacks here send a direct signal, so you can run, for example, out of here into your computer to record the direct amp signal or to play through some impulse responses. Now here you have the two switchable FX loops packing series parallel routing facilities, return dry-wet mix controls, and dual mono/AB link modes. It's primed for adding a full-featured stereo FX loop to your amp. The Reload 2 is all analog, and while it would be cool to have IR hosting available, that's not what the Reload 2 is all about, which is allowing us to use our loud tube amps at a more reasonable volume so that we can actually use them. That said, though, Two-Notes is best known for their pioneering work in guitar speaker emulation, and the Reload 2 comes with a lifetime license to their fantastic Genome software. Much more than just a simple IR loader, Genome is an app that not only continues Two-Notes' tradition of great-sounding speaker simulation, but also includes a bunch of great-sounding amp models, effects, and it will also load amp captures made with Neural Amp Modeler. It excels in use with the Reload 2. I think it's pretty obvious that I'm more than a little impressed with the Reload 2. The only thing it's missing that I really wish it had is a bypass switch so I can run my amps without the reload, without crawling underneath my desk and moving a bunch of wires around. That said though, the Reload 2 sounds so great. I really don't think I'm going to be needing that capability much, if at all. Have you checked out the Reload 2 yet? If not, what are you using to keep the volume of your tube amps under control? Let me know down below in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.